All right, picture this. It's Austin, Texas, December 6th, 1991. The kind of night where you can see your breath in the air, streetlights humming, Christmas decorations flickering. And in this little frozen yogurt shop, I can't believe it's yogurt. 4 teenage girls are just finishing up their shift. Nobody knows it yet, but in a few hours, that shop will burn to the ground, and Austin will wake up to one of the most horrifying crimes in Texas history. Jennifer Harbison, 17, responsible, dependable, the kind of big sister who makes honor roll and works part-time. She's been saving up for her blue Chevy pickup truck, proud of every payment she makes. Her little sister, Sarah Harbison, 15, energetic, funny, still figuring out who she wants to be, but she knows she wants to hang out with her big sis and her friends. Eliza Thomas, 17, Jennifer's best friend and coworker. She's an animal lover, into FFA, that's Future Farmers of America, and keeps critters all over her room. Hamsters, rats, the works. Total sweetheart. And then there's Amy Ayers, the youngest, 13 years old. She's basically still a kid. Loves animals, loves her family, wants to be a veterinarian one day. Her dad calls her a daddy's girl. For girls, all good students, full of plans, just trying to finish their shift so they can hang out afterward. That Friday, the girls are doing regular stuff. Jennifer and Eliza clock in for the evening shift at the yogurt shop. They're supposed to close up around 11. Sarah and Amy? They're hanging out at North Cross Mall, shopping, joking around, planning to meet Jennifer and Eliza later so they can all get a ride home together. Nothing out of the ordinary. Teenagers, Christmas season, the city buzzing with lights and music. Around closing time, between 10:45 and midnight, something goes horribly wrong. The last few customers leave. There's talk that a man asked to use the restroom in the back, maybe jammed the rear door open. Moments later, that door becomes the entry point to hell. Inside that small yogurt shop, the 4 girls are bound, gagged, and forced to the ground. Their hands are tied with pieces of their own clothing. They're shot execution style, some with a .22, others with a .380. Amy, the youngest, fights back. Under her fingernails, she scratches her attacker, and that tiny bit of DNA will become the key to solving this nightmare 34 years later. The killer, or killers, pour accelerant, light a match, and leave the building to burn. By 11:47 p.m., smoke is billowing out of the strip mall. Firefighters rush in. When they put out the fire, what they find inside is unspeakable. 4 young girls shot, tied, burned beyond recognition. The smell of gasoline and melted plastic everywhere. Austin police step in, and the nightmare officially begins. The next morning, the city wakes up in shock. Headlines scream, "Yogurt shop murders." Families collapse in grief. Jennifer and Sarah's mom, Barbara, says, "My life was focused around them from here to eternity. Someone took eternity away from me." Amy's dad says, "I lost my first dance. I won't see her graduate." Eliza's little sister, Sonora, spends days believing maybe her sister's still out there, hiding somewhere. She was 13 at the time. In the investigation, it spirals. Hundreds of suspects, dozens of false confessions, endless interviews. In 1999, 4 young men are arrested. Maurice Pierce, Michael Scott, Robert Springsteen, and Forrest Wellborn. Police claim they confessed. 2 are convicted. Springsteen gets the death penalty. But there's a problem. None of their DNA matches anything from the crime scene. Their so-called confessions. Coerced, inconsistent, and recorded after marathon interrogations. By 2009, after almost 2 decades of courtroom chaos, the convictions are overturned. The men are freed. The case goes cold. Now it's the 2010s, then the 2020s. Technology keeps evolving. DNA testing gets sharper. Databases get bigger. Austin's cold case unit keeps re-examining what little evidence survived the fire. A bullet casing from a .380 pistol. Fragments of rope. And crucially, DNA from under Amy Ayers' fingernails. That DNA sits there for years, incomplete, degraded, until 2024. New testing techniques, YSDR testing, allow scientists to isolate male lineage DNA. They upload it, and it hits. The The sample links to a man named Robert Eugene Brashers. So who the hell is Robert Brashers? He's a convicted rapist, a violent drifter from the Midwest, suspected in multiple sexual assaults and murders. He traveled between Missouri, Tennessee, and Kentucky, a ghost on the highway. In 1999, he gets cornered by police in Kennett, Missouri. During the standoff, he shoots himself, dead before anyone can question him. But here's the thing. His gun, a .380 pistol, was tested after his death. And that exact same gun matches the shell casing found in the Austin yogurt shop. DNA under Amy's fingernails also matches Brashers, a 34-year-old mystery, cracked open by a single scratch from a 13-year-old girl fighting for her life. On September 26, 2025, Austin police announce it. We have identified the suspect in the 1991 Austin yogurt shop murders as Robert Eugene Brashers. Families cry. Reporters cheer. Eliza's sister says, "I thought I'd die before I knew who did it." And even though Brashers is long dead, his name finally gives the city and those families some peace. 34 years. For innocent girls. Hundreds of false leads. And one small piece of DNA that refused to be silenced. So here's the question that's haunted everyone for 30-plus years. Why did Robert Eugene Brashers do it? What kind of monster walks into a yogurt shop full of teenage girls and turns it into a massacre? Well, the truth is Brashers didn't need a reason. He was a predator, plain and simple. Before Austin, he'd already attacked women across 3 states. He stalked them, broke into their homes, assaulted them, even murdered a mother and daughter in Missouri. This man lived off violence. It was his sick addiction. When investigators retraced his steps, they realized he'd been passing through Texas in late '91, living out of his car, drifting from job to job. That yogurt shop? It was open late. Young girls working alone. Easy target. He probably walked in pretending to buy yogurt, scoped the place out, noticed there was no male employee around, then waited until closing time. Classic Brashers pattern. Control, humiliation, domination. See, his crimes weren't about robbery or money. The cash register barely had anything missing. They were about power. He wanted to terrify and destroy innocence itself. The fire afterward wasn't to hide theft. It was to erase evidence, and maybe to make the world feel the chaos he carried inside. And here's the chilling part. If DNA hadn't caught him decades later, we might never have known his name. He died thinking he'd gotten away with it. But one small act of resistance, Amy Ayers scratching his skin while she fought for her life, changed everything. That's the print that told the truth. That's the mark that screamed, "We didn't win." So the motive? It wasn't money. It wasn't revenge. It was the twisted pleasure of a man who thrived on hurting the helpless. And finally, science called him out for it. After 34 years, Austin finally got a name. And even though Brashers pulled the trigger back in '91, he didn't get the last word. The girls did. Through the DNA they left behind. Through the families who never stopped fighting. Through the justice that came decades late, but came all the same. So yeah, next time you hear about cold cases and think they're forgotten, remember Amy Ayers, Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, and Eliza Thomas. Remember that sometimes justice doesn't come quickly, but it can still come, even if it takes 34 damn years, or a 13-year-old girl's last fight to bring it home.